Welcome to the Big Brand Podcast, where we help you go from invisible to unforgettable. Hi, I'm Bhumi, a brand designer. I work with founders to create strategic brand identity. Today, I'm talking to Sumiit Tripathy, a published author and a public speaking coach. Hi, Sumit. Thanks for being here. How do you feel about being my first guest?
Hi, I'm really excited, Bhumi, and thank you for this opportunity. Really grateful for this.
Great. So, I want to start at the beginning of your journey. So, what was it like entering this industry?
When I think about it, it all started a decade ago with me facing extreme social anxiety. And when I did this, I could not speak to anyone. I had so much of loneliness. I used to get bullied a lot. And the only way to come out of this was through communication, through building myself and speaking my truth. And once I was able to do it, I realized that I can help others also achieve the same dream. So I have a single mission in mind these days to help anybody facing social anxiety or problems with their communication take their ideas and present it with conviction. So that is how I got started.
Wow, I really like your story. So I'm assuming you get a lot of students who kind of come from the similar issues or the insecurities that you have gone through.
I would say I deal with people from all walks of life. Some possibly have issues with confidence. Somebody wants to be more charismatic. Somebody wants to understand how to engage the audience. So, a lot of clients come with different issues.
Okay, I get that. So I wanted to ask you, you're building a coaching business, and I think you've been in the industry for a couple of years now.
Yeah.
So what would you say surprised you the most about building a coaching business?
Oh, this is a very good question. I think what surprised me the most is how much of a role branding plays in the coaching industry. Because back when I had started, I had zero branding, I had zero social media presence, nothing. And because of that, even though I was the same coach, my clients looked at me in a completely different way. So with your knowledge, with your core skill, with your business, adding that branding can help you get premium clients. And that is something I have personally experienced. And I'm really grateful that I invested in my branding.
Yeah, that's great. So was it like scary to spend money on branding, or was it like obvious?
It was obvious. It was never scary because I know that the investment I'm making today on branding will serve me tenfold in the future, and it did. I started 2 years ago. I had done my branding. I went with the color red. My designer said that this is a color that really speaks to your personality, and now that has become my entire identity. I resonate with it. It is something that I can look back on. It gives me that reassurance that whenever I look at red, I remember Speak with Sumit. I remember my coach. So it has given me that identity. It has helped my business form a different sort of persona. So I have never doubted branding.
That's a really amazing answer. So you mentioned the color red.
Right.
So how do you think, branding has shaped your perception? Like when people look at you as a coach and they see you through the branding that you have, how do you think it shapes their perception?
Honestly, I think business is not about what you know, but how much of it you're able to show to the world. And branding has helped me market myself better. Perception, while I'm not exactly sure how it has impacted, like I can't give you a tangible answer to that, but I can feel the difference. I can feel that when a client used to show up 2 years ago on a consultation call, the difference was very massive. Now it's more professional. I'm getting the right kind of clients. Before it all started with people who probably aren't even my target audience. But because of my branding, it has created that image in people's head that this coach is somebody who can help me build authority. And that is the clientele that I receive now because of my branding.
So has branding affected your pricing in any way, or the type of clients who started reaching out?
Definitely. I think if I had to compare when I started and the pricing I'm charging now, it is more than 10x. And I
Oh,
am
that's great.
planning to double the pricing I'm charging currently by the end of this year. So I couldn't have done this without branding.
Wow, I mean, the ROI for branding is insane.
It is. I didn't expect this. I thought that, okay, I'm spending 40,000, maybe branding might help me 2x my business, 3x my business, but 10x, that is something that was pleasantly surprising to me as well.
So you're also a published author. You've written 2 books.
Right.
So I wanted to ask you, like, what made you decide to write the book?
Okay. I think that's a good question. What made me decide to write the books was my own personal struggle. I needed to voice it in form of some sort of literature, and I believe that literature immortalizes you, and it's also great for distribution. People can read my story. The people who don't get an opportunity to talk to me can read about me. And I have had people message me saying that, hey, I read your book, I loved it, it really connected with me. How can we work together? It also helped my business grow. It also helped spread awareness about my cause, all of that. That has been really amazing. I would recommend every business owner to write a book, especially in their industry. It works wonders. And Bhumi, I'm curious, how did you get into branding?
Well, that's for me. It has been a very complicated journey, I would say. So I didn't necessarily like come from a design background. I have a degree in digital marketing, but in college I was introduced to graphic designing as one of my open elective subject, and that's when I realized that this is what I wanted to do.
Oh, wow.
And I kind of switched fields and I started taking graphic design courses, learning the fundamentals. I built a portfolio from scratch while I was in college, and yeah, that's kind of how I got started. I think a lot of people I've seen in the industry come from different backgrounds, and then they kind of realize that that this is what they want to do.
And
Because like I think with design, it's never really shown as a potential career when you're in school. It's always either go in marketing, either go in business, either go in a medical field or engineering. It's like it's never, design was never really shown as an option. So a lot of people, even if they have the passion and the skills for it, they don't really see it as an option because it was never shown to them.
okay. So
Yeah.
how does it feel chasing your dreams? I mean, it's really cool that you started with one degree and then you came into this field. Now you've mastered this field as well. How does it feel chasing your dreams?
Honestly, it's a mix of a lot of things.
Okay.
It's scary a lot because I left my job.
Mm.
I used to work for an advertising agency as a graphic designer there, and I left the job to build something of my own. Because one thing that I kind of noticed when you work for others in the design industry is that you don't really get the recognition that you deserve. So it happens with a lot of designers, when you work for someone else, they get the credit for your design skills. And you don't really, I mean, when I was there, I didn't even get to talk to the clients. I was just given the work.
Okay.
So I think designers should be able to get recognition because it takes years to build design skills. So if you are, putting out your work, then you should be recognized by it. And that's something I say to any designers out there, like, be recognized for your work.
I agree because, I mean, brand designing is a very creative field where you have to think a lot. It's not like you can copy others. And as a premium designer, I'm sure coming up with original ideas is even harder. And the fact that you're doing this and in a job they don't give you credit is just awful. I'm glad that you became a business owner and you have chosen this path for yourself. I'm really proud of you.
Yeah, thank you for saying that. So I wanted to ask you about the book cover design. So you have written 2 books, Permission to Exist and The Average Man.
Yeah.
Okay, so for our viewers who are not aware of what your book is about,
Uh-huh.
can you give more context about what the book is about and how the book cover kind of conveys what the book is about, like
Okay.
to the readers?
I mean, I have the books as a matter of fact. Let me just take it out. So this was my first book, The Average Man, and this was my second book, Permission to Exist. I think the first book mainly was written because I had a lot of questions. The biggest question I had was, how can I learn multiple things at once? And that is what I looked in and wrote this book. And it helped a lot of people. The red in this book, again, this red was the reason I also went with my entire branding. I went with the color red because it just felt like me. It felt the personality that I'm trying to convey, that energetic and warm, understanding. All of that was in this red. So that is something I strongly felt about. And with Permission to Exist, I think the design is pretty symbolic. So this is a book purely based for public speakers who want to learn how to communicate better. And you can see all these eyes are looking at that person. But this person isn't feeling uncomfortable. They are confidently smiling. And that is something I wanted to convey. And when my designer, she came up with the design and she was like, Sumit, what about this? I could see beyond the design. Because sometimes what happens is we have very surface level designs, and honestly, I don't understand them. I like designs that are deeper. Like when you look at the Amazon logo, there is that little arrow from A to Z showing that you can get any product from A to Z. And I'm like, wow, that is such a cool concept. So I definitely like deeper designs.
I know what you mean. So that's something that I kind of value a lot as a designer, is having those hidden details and those hidden meanings in my designs. I think it gives more depth and meaning.
Yeah.
Subtle things that people might not notice at first glance, but when you understand the brand, you can like see the hidden meanings behind it.
Right.
I think the same thing with the FedEx logo. If you know that there's like an arrow inside the logo, but it's very cleverly placed that you don't like noticeably see it at first glance, but after a while you kind of see it, like, yeah, that's an arrow.
What does that arrow represent?
It's mostly about the brand itself, like I guess a faster delivery or something. Okay. What's one thing that you wish you'd done differently with your branding early on?
One thing that I wish I had done differently. I don't know, because I believe branding is an ever evolving process. Like I started with some fonts, I started with a particular color. Eventually the shade of that red changed. Eventually the fonts were changed. So as I evolved as a coach, so did my branding. I don't treat it like something constant. I treat it like a living being. You know how your child slowly grows up? Just like that, even your business matures. And having the same branding that you have in the starting of your business cannot be expected when you have been in the industry for a few years. So I feel my branding has evolved, even though subtly, but it has evolved.
I really love the point that you raised, that it's an ever-evolving thing. So one thing I've kind of seen people do is that they're kind of scared to invest in branding because they feel it's very permanent. They're like, okay, once we make it, this is it. So they get more indecisive, they get scared, they don't really know, and they panic a lot. But it's true that, it's ever-evolving. So a lot of companies, a lot of big brands that you see today, they don't have the same logo that they did like when they first started. Like look at any brand, whether it's Instagram. Have you seen Instagram's first logo? It was so different. Like same with Duolingo, like so many brands. They don't start with perfect brand. Apple's logo, like it literally had like an illustration of like an apple tree with someone sitting underneath the tree. But it changes as the company grows.
Yeah.
So yeah, it should. This is why I think people shouldn't be so scared about investing in branding. We're supposed to evolve with the business. It's okay if it just needs to get you started. If you're in the beginning stage of your business, it should just get you started.
True.
And you can always change it when you think it doesn't fit your positioning anymore.
Absolutely.
So that's a really good point that you raised there.
Yeah.
So one thing that you mentioned was the use of the color red. Do you think that when your audience sees the color red, do they associate you with the color red now?
I have no way to confirm or deny this, but now when I think about it, red also has a lot of competition. You have popular brands like Coca-Cola, Oreo. There are so many. I think even there's this mosquito repellent brand. I can't remember the name. Active or something. That also uses red. So
yeah, but in your space.
In my space, in the communication space,
yeah,
I think so. I think they should be able to associate red with me, because when I see other coaches, they have used different colors like purple. Purple is very common that I've seen in the coaching field. Then there's yellow. And I don't think anyone else is using red. Or if they are, I don't think they're using the particular shade I am. I'm pretty sure there is a distinction. But again, I have no way to confirm or deny it.
I get that. So you mentioned like other coaches as well. How do you think your branding differentiates you from other coaches?
That's a good question. When I think about it, my branding differentiates me from other coaches because I think it's not even about differentiating. I didn't go with the motive of, I want to be different. I went to my designer saying, can you make my branding as authentic and real to me and to my personality? And she said, yes, you have a warm, friendly personality. You want to show confidence. You want to show energy. This is the brand we should go with. And since everybody has their own unique personality, I don't think it's possible for two branding sessions to be alike. I don't think two branding styles can be alike if branding is based on personality.
That's true. That's actually a good point. A lot of the times people try to like copy whatever is trendy because they think that would validate them and get the eyeballs. But a true timeless design comes from authenticity. Because your personality, who you are at your core, it doesn't fade with a trend. It stays forever. So if your branding is inspired by who you really are, then it will never go out of style, like a lot of trends actually are.
Absolutely. And as a business owner, when I look at my brand, it should feel like a part of me. Like if I just went with a trending color, I said most coaches are going with purple, let me also go with purple. It wouldn't resonate with me. And I would feel inauthentic. I wouldn't feel that great about that color or that particular branding. I feel branding...
Yeah, that's a very common mistake actually. Yeah, you were saying?
I feel branding is like a mirror. You should be able to see parts of yourself.
True, you should. Because it's like a direct reflection of who you are. So yeah. So I wanted to ask you, so if someone's on the fence about investing in their brand, what would you tell them?
I would tell them, based on my personal experience, I would tell them go for it. Because a lot of people spend on Facebook ads, they spend on so many things. But if people don't trust your brand, if it's not professional enough, then who is going to buy from you? And of course, you need a unique voice. There are 8 billion people, and I can't even imagine how many business owners are out there. And you need a unique voice. And branding gives you that voice. Otherwise, you're just screaming into the void and nobody's listening to you. That is what I feel. Go for it. And when you go for it, don't go for cheap branding. Because oftentimes what happens, we see that there are a lot of designers saying we can give you branding in I don't know, 2 days, 3 days, whatever. That's not well-researched branding. That's very generic. But if a brand designer is investing 2 weeks, 3 weeks, it's actually a good sign because there's a lot of thought put into that branding. So 9 times out of 10, you will be very satisfied with the result. And that is ultimately the goal.
Yeah, I agree. So there's like a lot of cheap designs out there, people promising design to be delivered within a day.
True.
And it's just taken from Pinterest. There is no research done. There is nothing done. No research into the industry or about the brand, or doesn't contain any brand story or anything. It's just delivered fast. So I think if someone is investing in their branding and they're talking to a designer, a big red flag to look out for is the time they're planning to deliver. Because if they're saying they can deliver within a day or two, then that's a huge red flag. That means they're not doing their research.
Right.
Because branding without strategy, it does not work.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
So for someone who's starting out as a coach or creator, what's the first branding step that they should take?
The first branding step you can start with is, especially as a coach or creator, is fix your social media. A lot of people ignore their LinkedIn, they ignore their YouTube banners, Instagram banners. I think just working on that, it does not cost that much. So it's like a smaller investment, but it gives that sense of professionalism. And after that, the next step they can take is, of course, branding their invoices and all of that. Probably if they're making a video course, adding the similar branding, etc. Yeah.
I get that. Yeah, I agree. Because scattered branding gives off a very wrong impression. So if you look a certain way in your LinkedIn and then you look completely else in your Instagram or other platforms, the inconsistency can break trust. So yeah, the getting your socials right is actually very important.
Right.
So that's also one of the ways people judge you.
Absolutely.
Okay, so moving on to the rapid fire round.
Okay.
Are you ready for it?
I'm as ready as I would ever be. So yes.
Okay, so first question. 3 words that you would use to describe your brand.
Authoritative, friendly, and confident.
Okay. Favorite public speaking coach?
Win Jiang. Wonderful coach.
Yeah, I've seen his content. Really good.
Yeah.
What would you say is the biggest mistake you often notice in your industry?
People focus too much on body language. People focus too much on voice modulation. But what people don't focus on is the mindset. And I believe 80% of public speaking is just your mindset. Once you understand that, everything else comes naturally.
Agreed. Something that you find overrated in your industry?
Overrated. Wow. Something I find overrated is the pen in the mouth technique. So it's this technique for articulation where you're supposed to put a pen in your mouth and you're supposed to read slowly. While it works, I'm not going to deny it does work, but people actually consistently doing it is very less. Because people find it very unusual, so most people don't do it. So it's a very overrated exercise. Great for views on Instagram, but not that great practically.
Got it. What's one thing you do that most people in your space don't?
I focus heavily on mindset, understanding your core beliefs, breaking them. And then once that part of you has been discovered, I tell you that you are naturally a good communicator because human beings are social animals. It's only society who dictates and says that, oh, this is a bad communicator, this is a good one. So my job as a coach is to help you discover the communicator inside you instead of creating this new version of you. I work inward.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hardest part of writing your book?
Sorry?
What would you say was the hardest part of writing your book?
The last chapter. The last chapter was the hardest because you write the book and when it's coming to an end, you just think to yourself, is this good enough? When you go through all the chapters, you see, okay, can I correct this? Is this enough? Blah, blah, blah. And eventually you procrastinate. I think my first book, it had like 25 chapters or something. I wrote 24 chapters in 1.5 years, and the last chapter took me 6 months.
Oh, okay, that's a long gap.
It was mostly procrastination due to uncertainty. Because you want this idea of perfection to be there, but it doesn't exist. So accepting that helps.
Great. If you could change one thing about your book, what would it be?
Which one? The rush show.
Permission to exist.
Permission to exist. Actually, I'm working on a second version of this book where I'm adding more chapters. And definitely, I would be adding different illustrations because the printing did not come out that well. So, yeah, I'll be changing a couple of things. I'll be revisiting that book.
So, will you be changing the publication or?
I don't think so. Let's see.
Okay. And the last question. Worst public speaking advice you've heard?
Worst public speaking advice. There is only one good communicator.
Meaning?
People are made to believe that a public speaker, by definition, always has to be energetic, always has to be juvenile. And I don't think that's true. I think there are so many types of communicators. There is a calm communicator. There is someone who is highly motivational. There is a deep thinker. And you just have to find your authentic version. Instead of trying to put yourself in a box, you have to create your own version. You have to play on your strengths. So there is no one definition of a good communicator.
Yeah, I understand.
Right.
All right, Sumiit, this was really fun. Now, before we wrap up, I have one last question for you. If someone's listening to this right now and they're just starting their business or building their brand, what's one thing you'd want them to take away from this conversation?
One thing that I would want people to take away from this conversation is, if you're starting out with branding, don't think short term, think long term. Oftentimes what happens is people invest in branding. 2 months later, they're like, oh, why aren't my sales higher? Oh, why aren't my clients trusting me more? But in reality, it will take at least 1.5 years after your branding for the branding to show, for the benefits of the branding to show. So being patient, letting it evolve with time is something I recommend to business owners.
Yeah, it's a long-term game.
It is.
So. And where can people find you?
They can find me everywhere. There's YouTube, there is LinkedIn, Instagram. Yeah, so those are my social.
Okay, awesome. Thanks so much for being my first guest. Really appreciate it.
Welcome, and thank you for inviting me to this podcast. I enjoyed our conversation. Lot of fun things we talked about, a lot of insightful things. Really enjoyed that.
Thank you for saying that. And that's episode 1 of the Big Brand Podcast. If you want more of these conversations, make sure you follow along. I'll see you in the next one.
Thank you.